So I'm thirsty. I
Yeah.
suspect you're thirsty. So we're gonna make a drink. And so for the cocktail this afternoon, I thought we'd go back to the beginning of this era that I've been talking about, the 1920s, Prohibition era. And this is the Conchita, which I found in this recipe guide from Cuba. It dates to 1927. Came out during the peak of Prohibition. This drink is very simple, like a Presidente. It's very elegant, like a daiquiri. More of a classic than a tropical drink. No citrus in it. But it's something you might have sipped after stepping off the overnight steamer from Key West. And it harkens back to a time when Cuba was thriving. It was the sugar bowl of the world, producing more sugar than anybody else, about 4 million tons a year versus 3 million tons from India, the second largest producer in the world. And Cuba helped quench thirsty Americans. So let's make this. It's time and place in a glass, and we can raise a toast to our crazy Uncle Sam, who, wittingly or not, helped shape what we drank. So I've got the ingredients here. The recipe calls for equal parts dry vermouth, curacao, and rum. I suspect a lot of the drink would have been made with some of those lighter rums that we've been talking about for the last 40 minutes, but I'm going to make it with the Appleton. I've used 3/4 of an ounce of each on this. So 3/4 of the Appleton, 3/4 of the Dolan, 3/4 of the Curacao. I'm using the Pierre Ferrand for this. And then a couple dashes of Angostura. Some ice from my handy thermos. Chill it down. Doesn't call for a garnish. Probably could garnish with an orange peel. I'm choosing not to. Just strain it into a coupe. And we are ready to go. So,
nice.
Here's to Uncle Sam. Cheers, everyone.
Best rum bar in the on the border of Canada and Maine.
I would say so. I would say so.
Great. Very, very interesting stuff, Wayne. We did have a question here, kind of tracking back. With the smugglers, were they smuggling in barrels full, or was it bottled already?
It was bottled already. The barrels would have been too cumbersome because a lot of it meant they had to go with speed, and so that they were doing it with bottles, and they actually would typically break down the cases and package them in more easy to handle sacks. There's the great smuggling entrepot of the Northeast was Saint Pierre Miquelon, French islands off of Newfoundland, which remained part of France. So liquor could be legally shipped there. If you go there, there's probably a dozen warehouses around the harbor, big stout concrete buildings with dates on them, 1926, 1927, because everyone would ship liquor there in crates, and then the crates would be broken up, and they would put them in burlap sacks with straw, so they could toss them from one boat to the next. And they were quiet. Once they got back onto land, you could put them in the back of a car. You could travel with them, and it wouldn't give off any noise. In fact, there is a house in Saint Pierre that's made from the interior is paneled with broken down liquor crates. I can't remember what they call it. It's a Dewar house or something like that. It's the guy, whoever lived there, just decided they would panel the inside of the house with all the broken up liquor crates. So it's pretty amazing. Anyway, no barrels. Prohibition era was post barrel, and they would have been too. They wouldn't have been handy to smuggle. Probably some certainly were, but mostly it was bottles.
Got it. Yeah, well, I mean, it's always amazing to me to see how the impact of kind of major events and / kind of political wins, and how that just has such a massive impact on the way that these industries have come up over time. almost universally.
Oh, it's true. I think that's global. And yeah, and a lot of times you don't recognize that the changes are taking place until well afterwards. I mean, it'll probably be a couple more years till we start realizing, oh, the pandemic really affected bar culture, and here's how. Right now, it's just sort of in a fog, and realizing things don't feel the same as they used to, and we're not quite sure yet what the longer term impacts of that are going to be. But whether it's pandemics or wars or depressions or revolutions, it's going to affect what we drink.
Understood. Great. Okay, we're going to bring Jesse on. We'll be right back to you, Wayne. Don't go anywhere. Enjoy that cocktail.
I'll be right here. I'll be drinking.